So a couple months ago, The Verge took down a video on how to build a PC. It's kind of out of date, or something like that, and it's definitely not going to hold up for the high FPS games like Minesweeper, or the intense web browsing that I do on a daily basis. So, let's build a new one. So you can build a gaming desktop for around $20,000 to $30,000. I mean, that's how much I usually charge my customers. How much I would charge them if I had customers. But I want to go all out. So I basically found the most expensive prices for parts on eBay and purchased them. So I know for a fact that I'm getting the best of the best. So, what do you need to build a desktop? Well, first, you would need a table. Something that preferably spins around so you have easy access to all your parts. Next, you would need thermal paste and a thermal paste applicator, an Allen wrench, a pair of tweezers, a hammer, which hopefully includes a Phillips head screwdriver, and last but not least, an anti-premature discharge glove to protect you and the parts. These are the parts that you're going to use, but more importantly, we need to know what each one of these parts does. You know what? We don't got time for that. Let's just cut it out in the end. So we have a lot of parts and boxes. Some I really don't think we need. But we'll try and put it in the case and see if it fits. If it doesn't fit, then we probably just don't need it. And now we're really going to start building by adding the computer board. Now remember, this is a very delicate part, so you have to be very careful with it. So screw them in with confidence. But not too much confidence. Maybe like 2 twists of confidence and a twist and a half of uncertainty. That should probably do. So I chose this board because it was being sold by somebody with a 99.2% feedback rating. That's really good. Now pay close attention to this thingamajiggy here. Make sure to really hammer it in, just because there aren't any screws to hold it in place. Now this thing came pre-installed on our board and it's really not that useful, so we can pretty much just take it off and make some space for more useful components for our PC build. The next most important component is the RAM. And I got this stick that is actually low profile. It's great if you want to save some space in your build. I'm just gonna go and try and shove it in there. Don't be afraid to use force when trying to get it in. Sometimes everything just needs a little bit of elbow grease. Now I was lucky enough to come across an individual on Craigslist who was selling this wireless hard drive. It's pretty much state-of-the-art technology, and I had no idea that it actually existed. But essentially, it transfers your data without the need for wires. I'm guessing Bluetooth or something like that. I didn't want to deal with all the wires hanging out of my system. I wanted a completely clean build. He charged an exorbitant rate for this thing, but you know what? You gotta pay a premium if you want state-of-the-art tech. So let's go ahead and slide that in there. Now for this specific gaming PC, we don't need a separate graphics card, mainly because it just adds to the overall weight of the device and slows it down. You probably will get poorer performance with an extra video card. I mean, think of it like a car. You continue adding stuff into the trunk, your mileage is going to end up suffering. So let's forget about the extra graphics card. Besides, that leaves more space in the extra PCI slots for stuff like RAM and hard drives, which we can use to increase the storage and the memory respectively. Alright, power supply time. So what you gotta do here is take the power supply brick, and before installing it, you want to create an insulating layer to keep it warm because it gets really cold up here in Canada. So this will just protect that expensive power supply from breaking down. Now, most companies don't provide a static insulation blanket, but you can pretty much use anything from a towel to even toilet paper. So I think we have everything to get this thing up and running. Let's just start plugging the cables in, and as long as it fits in the port, it's pretty much correct. Oh yes, I forgot, we need that thermal paste. So just lather a bit of the thermal paste on the board itself. This helps keep it cool. The more you put inside, the cooler it gets. So depending on where you live, myself being in Canada, I don't really need that much. But if you're in a really hot country like India or Afghanistan, you probably need a bit more. I would say maybe a jar or two. Now, finally, we're gonna put the panels back on. The front, the back, the side panels, all that fun stuff is happening. So we fully built the PC, everything is put together, and it looks absolutely beautiful. Wires are perfectly placed. Now, what's next? Let's plug it in and see if we can get it to pose. Thanks for watching. Now, you're probably wondering, what the hell? Did the Tech Vengers get knocked on their heads? Right on the noggin? Or get too much radiation? I mean, what's the deal here? We are perfectly okay, guys. That was just our parody on an already hilarious video by The Verge on how to build a gaming computer for like $2,000. Obviously that wasn't their intention, and it was pulled off the internet for misleading people. And then The Verge, trying to leverage their power and submit takedown requests for other YouTubers' videos. It was a huge debacle, and one that can be better explained. I'll leave some links in the description down below if you want to get a better idea or an explanation of what exactly happened in the past couple months. There are some great YouTubers out there like Front Page Tech who actually explain it in more detail, so go ahead and check that out. And if you actually click this video to build a PC, please, for the love of God, do not use those instructions. None of that was factual or accurate. I mean, I'm hoping that you probably figured that out by now. But yes, please do not use that. If you want to take anything away from this video, it is this. The internet has a plethora of useful information, and because the internet is what it is, sometimes you may get misinformed. And that's not a dig at any creator out there. We are human and we do make mistakes. And no one is an expert at everything. Sometimes when you want to help other people out, you might slip up on a couple things. I mean, hell, we've done it, we've owned up to it, but what The Verge did was completely out of line. You should probably check out those videos down below to get the full background on this story. What I want you guys to know is that don't rely on one source of information before you make a decision on something. If you're looking at reviews, look at every angle possible. Ask questions, read the comments from others. If something doesn't sound right, go and search it up to see if other people are saying the exact same thing. If you're looking at tutorials, don't look at just one. Check out as many as you can. That's what we do when we need to figure something out. We kind of get as many sources as possible and kind of weed out the stuff that doesn't sound right. At the end of the day, you are ultimately responsible for what you know. I mean, that's our take on this whole thing. Obviously, The Verge or Vox Media, being a major conglomerate, were completely out to lunch with this video. And with the amount of resources and editors and producers, most of that stuff shouldn't have been missed. Well, they're paying for it, and our job is to make sure that you don't as well. What's your take on this whole thing? Let us know in the comments down below. Hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, and go ahead and hit that dislike if you didn't. Check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and Patreon. We'll leave our links down below as well. It's been a fun one, guys. I'm Jared the Tech Venger. Don't forget, when it comes to tech, the Tech Vengers are there. We got your back. And I guess so does the rest of the internet.